context of today's presentation includes a brief introduction to my platform's technologies, a technical assessment of the bio-based post-harvest fruit coatings, and then I'll conclude with future research and collaborative work. So the bioprocessing group has multiple core technologies, and the one that I lead is the bioadditives platform. Within this platform, we focus on manufacturing scale for production of non-pathogenic microorganisms, various fermentations, generation of product prototypes, both liquid and dried format, as well as new or improved product formulations for various industry applications. One technology in particular that's well established focuses on the bio-based product applications in green construction, and we're currently at the field trial stage. This has led to substantial growth, and several research areas have originated since, such as microbial-derived biosurfactants, as well as bioplastics. And of course, the topic of today's discussion, edible films and coatings for post-harvest treatments. So edible coatings has been successful in reducing mass loss and delaying aging, thus prolonging the shelf life of fresh produce. In addition, coatings have proven to be excellent carriers for other active ingredients such as antimicrobials and antifungals, which help alleviate contamination of coated produce. The food industry is exploring new opportunities involving the use of biological processes and products for the use as edible coatings and films. Microorganisms such as bacillus species and other biopolymeric products such as extracellular polysaccharides have been considered as possible source of alternatives to conventional coatings and waxes, such as pesticides and synthetic waxes. The fresh produce industry, together with researchers in the post-harvest biology and technology, have identified biopolymers such as polysaccharides to develop what we know as edible coatings. The images display the bioprocess development pilot plant facility, where we have the capability to produce extracellular polymeric substances at both 200 liter and 1000 liter scale. So I'll go through quickly the aim of the study, which was to evaluate the efficacy of different post-harvest treatments for their ability to reduce visual deterioration and prolong shelf life. So we had a number of objectives for the study: to produce and prepare product prototypes, to develop a testing methodology, to evaluate the efficacy, and select the most suitable method for application to prolong shelf life. Unique upstream and downstream processes were developed using the existing CSIR bacillus manufacturing technology as a starting point. The development steps undertaken are shown as the process unit operations 1, 2, and 3. Processes were then modified and optimized to produce a suitable product prototype. So what was the effect versus the controls? Both qualitative and quantitative data were assessed in order to elucidate the performance of the various treatments. In terms of the qualitative data, visual appearances revealed that the citrus fruits texture maintained the yellow pigment in comparison to the untreated batches and other treatments. But when treated with the CSIR biocoating products at both 1 and 2%, we had an improved visual assessment. The biocoating product treatments also indicated that a very low incidence of decay was noted at less than 30 days for the biocoating products in comparison to the untreated products, which had a very high percentage of mold after actually at less than 30 days. So the biocoating product prototype treatment with a lower concentration at 1% showed the best performance in the first 30 and 40 days of the experiment, with an average weight retention of 69%. So with an increase in the biocoating concentrations, we also noted a decline in the loss of weight. In terms of export and export purposes to countries such as the United States and Japan, the regulations require a pre-storage and transport period for a minimum period of 16 days for lemons. But this can vary according to the country of shipment. So it's very interesting to note that with this particular study, we pushed it on for 65 days. So the bio-based approach with the biocoating product prototype offered a thin layer on the fruit surface that is mainly composed of polysaccharides, proteins, and lipids. This approach had two functions. It prevents the growth of spoilage of harmful microorganisms, and it regulates the unwanted and biochemical abnormalities in fruit. It also showed a reduction in moisture loss and improvement in the rate of respiration. So the biocoating product met end-user requirements to prolong the shelf life at laboratory scale as follows. A good preservation treatment is not only limited to the preservation of moisture, but also requires other characteristics such as gas barrier abilities and the capacity to provide a physical and mechanical protection, as well as the impact on the product's appearance. So South Africa is a known producer and exporter of fresh citrus produce, and a significant economic incentive exists for developing new and innovative, yet environmentally safe, bio-based products for application on post-harvest treatments. This need is also coupled by the recent increase in demand of organic fresh produce. So the technology is directly applicable in the fruit industry, or can be widely used because of its hydrocolloid properties across multiple fruit and vegetable industries. So 4 uses have been identified for these technologies: bioactive manufacturers, biological product producers, and of course farmers, and then intermediate users such as export and distribution companies. Therefore, this technology will help create an impact across the South African fruit industry value chain. So further investigation is recommended using large-scale trials to determine the temperature controls, humidity, as well as frequency of treatments. Other potential applications include assessing the suitability of the biocoating product prototypes for avocados, mandarins, and pineapples. These numerous applications are expected to provide a lucrative growth opportunity for the agricultural sector or market, especially in South Africa, which will also favor the adoption for the use of bio-based products for fruit-producing industries. And of course, I'd like to thank the bioprocessing team. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that information. It was really interesting. But my question now, I wanted to understand, I find myself lacking a little bit. Was the coating coated on the product itself, like the food, or it was coated on a packaging? If it's a packaging, what type of packaging did you use?
That's a very good question. Maybe I wasn't clear enough, but we coated the fruit itself. Yeah. So a thin layer of foam was coated on the surface of the lemons.
Okay. Let's see, Shreya in the back has a question. Hi, Varsha. Thank you for the nice presentation. I just wondered, you mentioned that after coating, the fruit respiration rate increased. How did you check that?
So in terms of respiration rate, we didn't measure that parameter in this study because it was at laboratory scale. The main measurements that we focused on for this study is in terms of visual appearance and loss of moisture in terms of water. But I think as going forward for the next testing at large scale, we need to test the rate of respiration because there's a lot of gas in and out of the fruit affects it a lot.
Okay, I think in the interest of time, I think we started a little bit late. Thank you very much, Veshara. That was really interesting and a nice application of a bio-based product development.